Green light go, that's all I know. And when I roll, I'm in control. Don't matter what they say.
Hey, I'm Isna. Welcome back. I am here to help you embody your desires. I would love it if you would join my channel and go ahead and leave me a comment, and I'll go ahead and create a video if you want. Just love the feedback. Anyway, so today's video is going to be about my situation and how I got my SP back, because I get questions about it. So I'm going to go ahead and go through everything I did and how I got to where I am and what it was like in the beginning and the situation and circumstances. I'm going to go through all of it. So for any of those of you who know or who have been in chats or whatnot with me, you know a little bit about it, but I'm going to go ahead and go over all of it anyway. Okay, so I took notes because it's been a lot. So sometimes it's a little hard for me to remember everything. So, my SP and I are actively in a exclusive relationship again. And to answer your question before we get too far into this, does he know that I do law of assumption, law of attraction, whatever, type of stuff? I prefer law of assumption, obviously. Does he know that I do this stuff? Yes, he knows that I am interested in it. Yes, he knows that I am spiritual. Yes, he knows that this is a big part of my life, that I help other people do it. Does he actively believe in it? Not really. Doesn't care either way. He's indifferent. He knows that I talk about it. He knows that it's a big part of my life, but himself, he's not actively, oh my God, tell me about it kind of stuff, right? He doesn't really care one way or the other. So, I was a lot like him when I had my first date with him. I was talking like astrology and doing a bunch of stuff like that, and he was like, oh yeah, really? Okay, cool. Like, he really didn't care. So anyway, yeah, so that was him on our first date. Anyway, that was a while ago, and since then it has been kind of a ride. So I'm going to get into what our relationship was and what our relationship became, and then what our relationship is now, because that's the best way to do it. Okay. So, my SP and I had a very interesting relationship, and he was married, and he has kids, and he actively was staying in a marriage because of his children. So I know a lot of you are going to say, well, yeah, my SP is married and I want him to choose me. Okay, well, I made that happen. So I made that happen to the extent that he is now getting a divorce and he still has his kids in his life. And I'm the one that he sees, talks to. So how did I make that happen? Well, it's a long story, but short part of it is, let's just fast forward during the first relationship, and I'll just tell you right now. When I was doing this, even though I had known about law of attraction for years, I honestly didn't know at the time. I wasn't being very aware of my thoughts. I really wasn't. So I didn't actively know that I was, what I was like thinking, what I was doing. The only thing like looking back now, the only thing that I know for sure that I kept doing was I kept feeling and thinking and creating that I wasn't important, that I didn't matter, that I wanted more and I didn't have it. And that's what I focused on a lot. So having said that, of course, inevitably, I tore things apart. I created a breakup. Although, admittedly, the breakup that I created was not as bad as it could be. But it was still bad. It was bad. We had no contact for 3 months. And I reached out to him. When I reached out to him, it was because I was ready and I knew he was going to respond. Did I try and reach out to him prior to that? Yes. Was it a failed attempt? Yes. Did it hurt me? Yes. But during those 3 months, I have to be honest with you, especially considering it was during the lockdown and everything last year, I really did hit absolute rock bottom a couple of times. It was really hard for me. And figuring out that this journey was about me and not anyone else was what ultimately pulled me back out of it. So that's how I am where I am now. Okay. So if you're sitting there saying, oh my God, my person is married and there's no hope, and he keeps saying that he's going to choose somebody else and he won't talk to me and we're in no contact, I can tell you, as somebody who has been there, as somebody who has been very sure that I didn't care whether tomorrow came or not. I didn't want tomorrow to come. I didn't care. I really didn't. Um, and as somebody who um, had to go through all of the steps to get to where I am now, I can tell you with absolute no hesitation, you can have everything you want. You can. But I have to be honest with you about what it takes to get what you want. I just do. So that's why I'm doing this video, is so that I can be honest with you guys and tell you what it's taken, what it actually takes. Okay. So, um, 3 months. So during those 3 months, I tried to reach out a few times. Again, it was pointless. He would hang up on me. He blocked me. He wasn't interested. I really started working on my and focusing on my self-concept. Okay. I like to visualize. So I would visualize, and when I would visualize, it would be wonderful scenes that we would meet back up and everything would be great and things would be perfect. And that he would see me exactly how I wanted him to, right? So as I started working on this self-concept, what inevitably happened was that I realized I didn't need his validation. I didn't need his permission. I didn't need any of that. I just knew one day that I was ready. So I did it, and that was the end of it. And since then, he and I have been talking. Okay. So, having said that, since then, I'll be honest, after I got him back into my life, let's see what happened. I had been working on the self-concept, like I said. Put a lot of work into it. I felt great. But as soon as he came back in, I completely and utterly started getting hot and cold behavior because I was so dependent upon him to validate me that I let that be everything. I let that determine everything that happened. So for months, that's what I got: hot, cold, hot, cold. And that's where it was. That's what happened. Back and forth, back and forth. So I would fix it and it would be good for a little while, and then I would rely on the validation again, and then I would mess it up again, right? And I can't even say mess it up because it was still a lesson. It was still teaching me. It was a great journey. It was an amazing journey to be able to sit back and like completely see it unfold and be like, oh my God, what am I doing? Right. Now, I have to be honest with part of my journey, and this isn't necessarily something that you have to go through, but I want to be honest about my journey. So with my journey, what happened was, I got him back. Um, I actively started saying that he was going to get divorced, that they weren't together anymore, and that he chose me. That was just the end of it. And um, within probably a month and a half, month maybe, he said to me that was happening. He said to me they were getting a divorce. And that he wasn't even sad about it. He didn't care. He had no feelings for her, so it didn't matter. So, I have to be honest. I went through a phase for a little while where I completely beat myself up for wanting that. I did. I completely fell down a rabbit hole and did some self torment and completely beat myself up, not only about wanting him to be divorced, but what was I doing? How could I do any of this? How could I have created this? How could I want this? Right? And then not only that, but what was I doing to her? What was I doing to the kids? What was I doing? Right? So, um this happened for the most part like during like the last part of the summer through like the holidays for me. So I was on it still and we were still seeing each other. Things were okay, but my concept of self was struggling because I was beating myself up a lot. And I was really trying to figure out what techniques, what methods, what oh my god, how do I make this work? How do I feel better, right? So, um then around my birthday, which was in September, I had a friend that came back into my life, and she and I were really close, and it was a great friendship. But we hung out a lot, and I helped her with this. And then I realized that, like looking back on it now, I can realize that she was part of my manifestation journey too. And that's okay because I was supposed to learn certain things about respect and boundaries and things like that, and that was why I was supposed to be there at that time. I was teaching myself, and that was okay. So I did. But um the next few months were a lot of me trying to figure out my beliefs, trying to figure out what was what, right? I still very much was back and forth even with myself, right? I was receiving a lot of hot and cold behavior. I was very hot and cold in my head. Some days I would be mad at him, other days I would love him. I used every technique you can think of. I bought courses. I watched coaches for hours. I would post in Facebook groups. I would um, sit around and script. I would meditate. I would, you know, um, drink the water that you would label as certain things, and try and stand under the full moon and have the most effect to it. I did it all. I really did. Right. So did any of it make me feel any better? Yes and no. Yes and no. There were times where I felt great and I felt powerful. I felt amazing. And there were times when nothing happened. Right. So um then in January, two things happened. Right. One, out of nowhere, one day, he blocked me. He just blocked me. Don't know. Like, I was sitting there and I had had a fleeting thought about me being annoying and him getting sick of it and him wanting to just not talk to me anymore. And I distinctly remember having that thought. But then he blocked me. So I decided to turn that around real quick, and I did, and I made it work. So from the day he blocked me to exactly a week later, we saw each other, and we had been talking like all week. So I that was kind of a big moment for me because I realized even the fleeting thoughts had an effect. Even the minimal stuff had an effect. I thought that it was all just the intentional stuff, the stuff that you just focused on, not like all of our thoughts create, right? So I went from being super concerned and super aware of the circumstances, right? Constantly checking my phone, constantly wanting a text, constantly trying to make stuff happen, right? To finally kind of getting that circumstances really didn't matter. That the ultimate power was really me, and that it always had been, right? So from that point forward, I just knew something had changed, something had shifted within me. Okay. So from that point forward, we've seen each other pretty much, I want to say every week. And we talk at least 5, 6 times a week. Text, talk, whatever. So, I really just got clear from that point forward on no, he chooses me. This is what I've created. This is okay. There's nothing to apologize for. This is my reality. I don't need to apologize anymore. I've paid my dues. He's paid his dues. That's an old story. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And the biggest part for me was letting go of the old story. I know everybody says let go, and I know everybody says circumstances don't matter. I didn't fully grasp what those meant until I did them. I really didn't. Now I know circumstances really don't matter at all. So circumstances are he's married, he has kids, it's a difficult relationship. There's a million things that you can turn into a circumstance. Keeping him acting a certain way, that's a circumstance, right? Saying that he only wants X, Y, and Z, that's a circumstance. Saying that he was going to block me, that's a circumstance. Saying that, everything was my fault, that was a circumstance. Because I was blaming myself, he was blaming me, right? So, that to me was a really big one because I still am on this journey. I still am doing this every day. I'm still figuring out every day more and more what circumstances really are and how I keep creating them or not creating them and moving forward and just not even giving them any focus and just saying, nope, you don't exist. Bye-bye. Right? So a big part of it is that everyone is you pushed out. And so during my hard phase of this, I call it the hard phase because it kind of was, right? But during my phase where I was beating myself up and I wasn't very sure of myself and I didn't know how to make things better, I actively didn't understand those concepts. I just didn't. So what was it that I actively changed? How did I get from there to here? The biggest change was self-concept, right? The stuff that I actually did in the very beginning in order to get him back after those 3 months, believe it or not, that very first month when things were just starting out again, whenever I had the time to only work on my self-concept and visualize, that was completely the right path. That was exactly perfect. And I had to go and seek validation and let circumstances change my mind, right? I kept wanting validation, seeing things and thinking that this is it. Oh my God, this isn't what I want. That messed with my head. And once it messed with my head, then I got deeper in my head and I got deeper. Right. Okay. So if I had just continued to do what I was doing, I would be here then. Right. But I didn't know any better. So I'm not beating myself up for it anymore. It's been an incredible journey and I'm so happy that I figured it out. But also what I figured out was, so self-concept, right? Do what works for you, visualization or scripting or, meditation or, if you want to do the water, do the water. If you want to do the 55 by 5, do the whatever. But do what makes it so that you feel real about it. You're not trying to pretend. You're not trying to convince yourself. You're not trying to play a story. Whenever I would visualize and I would have those moments, and I still have these moments, right? But when I do that, it's not that I'm actively lying to myself. I'm not at all. What I'm doing is I'm actually playing a scene in my head about something I want to happen, something I can actually visualize, something I can actually see happen between us, a real moment. And if I want him to say certain things or do certain things or whatever, then that's what I play out, right? So I actively do that naturally without any prompting. I just have always done it. I didn't know it was visualizing until I got to be part of this community. I just didn't. So, did it work? Well, yeah, it still works. Now, if I do something, I can do it on purpose because I know what the results are going to be, right? So, how do you make it so that you are sure that your person wants you if they are married, have kids, in a devoted relationship, saying they don't want you, saying, they have you on, they're blocking you, they're not contacting you, they don't want anything to do with you. Okay, here's again, this is what I did. This is how it worked for me, right? I literally focused on myself and felt radiant. I felt incredible. I literally felt and knew that no one compared to me. No one could hold a candle to me, period. And not just, oh my God, I'm making myself feel good, like cocky, like, oh my God, I'm arrogant, I can't believe. Mm-mm. No, I knew he felt that way about me. I knew. And that's ultimately what it took. I knew. He he knows I'm irreplaceable. He knows no one compares to me. I'm it for him. We have a connection that is so strong that time, distance, other people, whatever, none of it, it's not going to change anything. What I say goes, and this is what I want. Period. This is the way it is. And that's what happened. So then after that, about, saying a divorce or whatever, honestly, I just made it so that there was no other person. I said he chooses me. They're getting a divorce. He's always chosen me. He doesn't even care about the other person. And sure enough, there it goes, right? So is it really that easy? Yes, it really is that easy. But here's the part that I like to emphasize. And it's so important. I can't tell you this enough. You are not trying to convince anybody but yourself. That is the story that you have to do. That is the work you have to do. It is a battle of you versus you. Okay? So you're going to hold on so tight to that old story. You really are. Because all those memories are there, all those experiences are there. They feel fresh, they feel raw, they feel real. I'm here to tell you that the past, those memories, those moments, if they were good, great. If they were bad, let them go. Walk away. You don't need to hang on to them. They're not serving you. They don't give you anything. They're not doing anything but hurting you. Walk away. That's what you need to let go of. That's what it takes to move on. You don't need to let go of your person. You don't need to let go of anything else. But you do need to let go of all of that baggage, all of that stuff that hurts you, all of those assumptions, all of those feelings, all of those beliefs, all of that stuff that is making it so that you think you can't, you're not worthy, or this isn't going to happen. If it falls into one of those three categories, let it go. Get rid of it. It's like stuff in your closet that you never wear. You don't want to wear it, but it reminds you of a concert you went to. No, enough. Get rid of it. Nobody but you has any memory of it. So here's the part that's really fun, right? You can actually change their memory of it because you're God of your reality. So as soon as you change how you feel about it, they're going to change how they feel about it. Happened to me. That's how it is now. So yes, you have to let it go. Yes, you have to. There's no other way around it. It's not a choice. It's not optional. You have to. And Do you have to move on, not want your person, not focus on them? No. You can completely focus on them. That's fine. You can affirm, you can have all that. I'm not here to tell you you can't. I do. But you need to work on you. You need to know deep down that it is you who creates, you who are special, you who make things happen, not them. They are just responding. That's all. So, did I get my person back? Yes. Was it at times, is it a great thing now? Yes, it's amazing and I'm happy. Was it perfect and absolutely the way that, absolute perfection and unbelievably, exactly the way I wanted it from day one? No. But you know what? That's the whole part though. If it's not the way that you want it, if it's not happening exactly how you like it, that's fine. Just use it as feedback, right? Oh, okay, well then this is happening and that's happening. So then I can tweak this. I can work on that. Okay, well we can still do this. It's okay. But that's part of it too, right? I'm a big proponent of you need to be grateful for what you have. So when things are unfolding and things are happening, I know a lot of people are saying, don't accept breadcrumbs, don't accept friends with benefits, don't accept things like that. I don't know. For me personally, I never thought of it as accepting breadcrumbs. I thought of it as, oh, well, this gives me feedback because I can use this to fuel myself to get more, right? Because if I can make this happen, then I can make more happen, right? And it makes it for me so that I like seeing the movement. I like seeing the feedback. I like being able to say, oh, wow, there's movement there. I did that. So if I can do that, then I obviously can do more, right? So to me, I use it as a thing to be grateful for, thing to be thankful for. I build on that. I use that as building blocks. If you are not in a place where you can do that and you can see it as a good thing and you can focus only on the good aspects of it, then please don't do it. Please don't put yourself in a position where you are letting the 3D do that, where you are forcing the 3D, trying to manipulate the 3D because you want the validation. I can tell you from personal experience, it's not going to end well. And when it does, you're going to be disappointed. And then you're going to be hurt. And then you're going to go down a rabbit hole. And when you come out of it, you're going to start it all over again. So either one, recognize that it is you who creates, and movement is always happening. Always. Even if you can't see it. Oh well. And I can't see the air I'm breathing right now. Doesn't make it any less real. Yeah, but I believe it's happening. I know it's happening because I'm obviously alive. So that is the story and the way that I got my SP back, and that it turned out. Do I know what's going to happen in the future? Well, I don't know. I like to manifest in steps. So for me, I'm happy with what it is now. And I'm completely okay with that. I don't know what... I have a bunch of other stuff that I'm manifesting. A bunch of other stuff. I'm focusing on me. I'm focusing on my life. Is he part of it? Yes. But can I tell you for certain everything I want? Well, I don't know. Some of it I like to keep a little bit to myself. We'll see. But that's the whole point. As you create, you grow and you figure it out. But I'm here to tell you that there's nothing, SP or otherwise, that you can't have. If he's married, if he's not married, none of it matters. All that matters is that you want it. It's yours. Go get it. I believe in you.
Green light go, that's all I know. And when I roll